I'm going to take that cue, Tanveer Ahmed Moir, to look at for a moment, the investigation itself. Do you believe it's an open and shut case, Tanveer, or do you believe that there will be challenges for the police? A narco test is not admissible. Is a confession that if they've got a confession from Aftab enough then to nail him?
You see, no investigation can ever be said to be as a case in black and white where you can return a finding of guilt tomorrow morning. And one thing is here that there is no eyewitness account, so the case and the trial will be on principles of circumstantial evidence, which means that in a case of circumstantial evidence, the prosecution always has a far more difficult job in comparison to an ocular testimony in a court of law. Now, what here the cops should do is, number one, don't relegate their cases only to confessions or to the last seen theory that the girl was living in an apartment and if she disappeared, then you must explain where she went. That's a very weak charge and that gets blown away. A few stains in kitchen of a blood will not be good evidence by any stretch of imagination to return a finding of guilt. But I agree one thing, that in a case of circumstantial evidence, if the accused, pursuant to his confession, takes the cops to places where he dumps important evidence, for example, body parts, then if that is the way the information is garnered by police, then in that circumstantial evidence case, that is a very strong piece of evidence and a strong circumstance tomorrow to hold the person as guilty.
So you're saying that you will need circumstantial evidence to back the confession that the police has allegedly extracted from Aftab. Am I correct?
The confession is absolutely inadmissible evidence and will not come to the aid of the cops at all.
Okay. Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
But the other pieces of evidence, for example, recovery of bones, now that's where your fourth speaker will become important is, that if the DNA is traced and matched, then a DNA expert can testify and bring it and drive home the prosecution case that this is the bone of the deceased. And if the accused points out the place where bones have been recovered, then that's a solid piece of evidence. Simultaneously, now any defense counsel worth his salt in this case is going to take a defense of insanity. You see, our society today is plagued with mental illness, and this person is at the moment, in terms of the horrific act which is attributed to him as alleged and not proved in a court of law, he certainly is a case of extreme schizophrenia, paranoia. He has a psychotic behavior. At what point of time did he commit the murder? We don't know. Now, chopping the body pieces and then dumping them is an act of what you call as desecration of the evidence, so as to save yourself from legal punishment. Now, that is only 201, and the main case will be 302. So any defense counsel will certainly say that, look here, Your Honor, my client is insane, and claim certain defenses. So what I would expect the cops also to do is to send him for a psychiatric analysis as well, and rule out the possibility of what you call as legal insanity, so that tomorrow is not available as a defense or maybe available as a defense.